In this episode of my falconry advice videos, I'm going to show you some items that it's useful to keep at home at all times, just in case you need them when caring for and keeping birds of prey. Now, these are items that you may never need to use. However, if you do find yourself requiring any of these items and you have to order them, that might take some time, a few days, even a week to arrive, and of course by then the problem that you're trying to solve could become far worse. Now, the first is something you can find in most shops, in supermarkets and so on, and that is some corn flour. Useful to have in your house for baking, but also in case your bird gets a bleed. This could be a cut or it could be a blood feather. Now, a blood feather is when a bird is molting and it's growing new feathers, and these feathers are full of blood until they're finished, and if they have an accident in some way and break that feather, then there's a lot of blood flowing out of it, quite a serious bleed, and it is possible for the bird to bleed to death. Now, corn flour, because of its structure, use some of that on the end of the cut or the bleed, and that will solve the problem. It'll kind of create a clot on the end there and actually possibly save your bird's life. I've never had to use it on any birds of my own, but when it comes to rescue birds that we get in, we have used corn flour on a couple of occasions to stop bleeds. And of course here at Owl Adventures, that is something we do, which is why I also keep some Loxicon and similar medicines in the house as well if we need them. These are a painkiller, it's an anti-inflammatory solution there. Now, it's really important to say that we get this from the specialist vets. I do regular talks with the specialist vets, so I understand how to use it, what kind of dose to use. I've used it on many, many birds over the years, and it is actually, as I say, licensed for dogs and cats, because you can't license medicines for birds, so we've got to make sure you're aware of that. So I don't suggest you just go and get some and use it if you really need to, but if you find your bird has a cut, for example, or is unwell in some way, and you wish to give it a painkiller, that is an option, but do speak to your vet first before using it. I can't stress that enough. Something you don't have to check with a vet from necessarily is how to use a crop feeding tool. It's useful to have one of these. This is in case you have a bird, again we do this a lot with rescue birds, that is underweight, not able to eat and lacking in fluids, and you can put the solution in here and you pop that down into the crop from the beak, of course, and push the solution in. Now, it's also really important to regularly check your bird for mites. These are going to be found on the feathers, sometimes around the eye they can be seen, and they are eating the feathers, they can eat the flesh, they can be really harmful to your bird and even cause death as well. Now, this little vial here, it's not currently labelled, it's called invitamicin, and it is for mites, and you've got to be very careful with the dose, a tiny little drop on the back of the feathers once a day, even though that's only a 1% solution. And I've only ever had mites in birds once, and it cleared it up very, very quickly, and we found it very early as well. And I had it on one of my reptiles as well, and actually that also solved the same problem. So those are a few of the things we have which are slightly less common. But these last few items are pretty much essential to keep and use on a regular basis. And that is the F10 products here. And again, they haven't sponsored me, but I am a big fan of F10. We use other antibacterial solutions, but this is the main one we use, animal safe. So this is the spray, and we can spray this directly onto perches and places where the birds sit, and they can sit on it wet, so it's actually good to clean their feet as well in that respect as a sort of side effect there. And it's essentially the same thing that's in here, and this is a cream form. I'll show you inside. It's a pink one, this one. This one has the insecticide in. So this is the normal if I say it properly, germicide. Is that how you say it? That word there, you know what I'm trying to say. Okay, that actual antibacterial solution, as it were, with the insecticide mixed in together, and it's not to be used on cats, as you can see there. They even do F10 in a hand gel form. If you're handling animals a lot, you can use that on your hands instead of using something that could be harmful to birds. Useful to keep these things in stock because you just never know when your bird is going to need them.